appreciate you guys tuning in. The Tastemakers podcast begins in 5 minutes. Make sure not to go nowhere, because Quote, Brina, Trisha, and Corey, also known as the Tastemakers, will be with you in 5 minutes. Thanks for sticking with us. Oh snap, you still here. Listen, in less than 3 minutes, the Tastemakers pod will be on and popping. Don't miss Bree, Quote, Trish, and Corey talking about the hottest topics in culture. Again, less than 3 minutes. Make sure to stick with us.
Tastemakers.
Classic. We do more than make a living, we make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the Tastemakers. Aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight.
I told y'all, patience is a virtue. This is what perseverance will get you. In just 60 seconds, you will be live with the Tastemakers pod. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
For the new Tastemakers, sommeliers came out to play. Classics in the current day. For the movers and shakers. For the new Tastemakers, sommeliers came out to play. Classics in the current day.
The beat breaker. Tastemakers.
What up? What up? What up? What up?
Why you shaking your head, Trish?
I'm having technical difficulties. So.
Oh, I'm about to say, what somebody do something already?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Thanks, babe. Thank
You
you.
sound?
Appreciate it.
Oh, just the microphone ain't saying where it needs to stay.
It had came all the way off.
Lord Jesus. Well, I'm gonna let y'all know one thing. Bang is on deck.
That looks disgusting.
Yep. The Bang is on. It's actually pretty good. It's not too bad. It's called Star Blast. Bang, it's not too bad.
Hey, quote, who when you was growing up, who had the sex talk with you? Your mom or your dad?
Definitely my dad.
Word?
Word.
Was it like a real sit down talk? Like, yo, son, let's sit down and talk about this real quick. Or was it like a by the way, like, don't have sex?
What's funny is I've had this talk several times throughout my son's life, but I literally just had this talk again within the last week with my son. But it was more of a, you know what not to do. Do I need to show you how to put on a
word? Wow. But like, did they teach you like different parts of like the woman's body?
Nah, we didn't go into that. No.
Okay, interesting.
Was that part of the talk?
Apparently it is, because
I
was listening to a podcast and 60% of the people didn't have that, but then 40% of the people was like, yeah, my parents told me about the part, so I know what's going on. Because there was some stuff that I didn't know. Like, what?
So first and foremost, shouts out to everybody. Charles, Marcos, Lit L, Destiny in the chat. What's popping? Everybody make sure to say hi.
I learned a lot about sex this week. Let's just say that.
What? This week?
Hold on.
We got to talk about this. No, we got to get into this. ASAP.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find out. Yeah, I was a PK too, Marco. So I was kind of the same way. But
I feel excited. I'm like, I'm going to call my dad and be like,
the saved parents was telling their kids about the saved parents, like the Christian parents. Was telling their kids.
I don't think Christian parents really be having the in-depth talk.
Okay. Well, back in the day, no.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying,
and is
it necessary for the talk to involve? Is it necessary for the talk to involve other parts of the other person?
Yes, bro.
If you're talking about sex, first of all,
why? No. Explain, Trisha, please. I have to understand, why is it important? Because the overall message I'm trying to push at this point is not to. I don't want to then go and get descriptive as to, well, if you touch up on that clitoris, you know what I mean?
No. Okay, let me say this.
I found out some stuff today that I didn't know.
Like what? I'm curious what it is that you just found out, because what did you just find out?
What did you just find out?
Now, mind you, like, I'm not like, so boom, right? So I'm the good church kid. I got like 2 bodies total in my whole entire life, right? And like those are like spread out. They're not like, you know what I'm saying? So I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. You feel me?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So like, listen, I'm listening to some stuff today, and matter of fact, it was Kev on Stage podcast, and I'm right there with Kev. Kev was like, hold on, what?
Hold on, Kev been married for many years.
Explain.
What is it that Kev don't know?
No. So he got the podcast with Angel with that chick Angel.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to it crazy because y'all joint's mad funny. But this was like an older joint. Did you just find out about
this podcast?
Huh?
Did you just find out about this podcast?
I did.
You ain't been watching Here's the Thing?
Really?
Oh, man. Literally, Angel is she might be the funniest underground chick in the world. Like, for real. Like, Angel should rule the world. You know what I mean?
Angel's funny.
Like, she's funny as all get out.
Nah, she's definitely funny.
It's gonna be a like comedy show this
But
year.
like the episode, I forgot what episode it was. It was something back from 2021, I think.
Oh, okay, all right.
And Angel was like, "Yeah, Kev, because when you do that, he was like, no, I don't know." He was like,
what did she say? What did you say?
Listen, it
was explicit.
It's explicit. We can't.
Oh, okay. Understood. Yeah.
I know YouTube might flag us, but yeah. So I'm like, hold on. I didn't know that either.
After dark will hit probably in the next hour and a half, and we'll come back this way.
Like, let's come back to this conversation.
Let this drink kick in real quick. But anyway,
I need to know what. Okay, so anyway, Trisha, now I need to know why you feel like. Shouts out to Natalie in the chat. Why do you feel like we need to Why do you feel like we need to educate our young boys
about women's body parts?
The female, nah.
100%.
Tell me why.
I think it depends on the age.
Tell me why.
I'm not saying that you need to be like at 5 telling them, explaining to them the women's body parts. But when you're having, I think it's stages. It's stages, right? Because me and my husband have had conversations with our children about sex. We talked about their own body parts. We've let them know like what the body parts are actually called, not nicknames for the body parts, right? Because that is important. And so I think at a certain age with my son, we were explicit about what the woman's body part was and what the man, like what it entails, what sex entails, because he was exposed to something early. So we had to like have that conversation. Okay. At like 10. I think he was about 10. But so I'm saying, yes, use discernment, use wisdom.
That's what I'm saying, Charles. That's exactly what I'm saying. Had I known all the rules, I'm not saying all the rules. No. The world.
Listen, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that they need to understand how it all like
not for pleasure.
But I'm saying just
explain it
in the chat. Shouts out to Tosh in the chat.
Well, I think it's important to let kids know at a certain age, again, with prayer and discernment, what sex is made for. And it is made for pleasure, because we grew up thinking, oh my gosh, sex is bad. No. And then I grew up thinking.
No, I'm saying when I talk to my son, I let him know, yo, this joint right here.
All right, quote.
What you doing to your mom? Like,
all right, quote. So like, one of the things, I'll give you one of the examples. So Kev didn't know how many holes or there were.
I think I remember this episode. Wow. Yeah, that was a while ago.
And he was like, episode. Wait, they do that and that doesn't come out the same hole? Like that.
You talking about? You're talking about?
He did. That's right. I think I remember that. Yeah, I remember that episode.
You talking about squirting? Are you talking about squirt?
No,
he was talking about
like there's a one for
peeing.
Yeah.
Versus, that's two different. Yeah. Okay.
I thought you.
How he didn't know that? I don't know.
Sorry.
How do you know that if nobody tells you?
She just took us to Tastemakers After Dark, by the way.
I was just trying to understand what was happening. All the way at the
beginning. But feel me. How do you know that if nobody tells you about it?
Not Sean.
True. No.
That's what I'm saying. So
that's legitimate if nobody explains that to you.
So I'm saying when you have these conversations with your daughters or your sons, you need to tell them about the other genders, so they can have general information. That's good information.
I do think that at some point, again, using prayer and discernment, I think at a certain age they do need to understand. I know, right?
It's the legacy Jones.
I was like, what are we talking about? I do want to be a sexologist, low key, a Christian sexologist, and that's going to be later on down the line in life.
I didn't send you the recent episode of Tim Ross in the basement with the. I hate that he was talking to a sexologist. Oh, okay, I'm gonna send that to you.
Yeah, send it to me. But they do need to understand what the body parts are, men, boys and girls, like they do, because
why?
It's important to understand
because you'll walk around like Kev on stage and not know.
At 39 years old, like come on.
Yeah, no. Outside of not knowing the information, what other harm does it do?
Oh, it's not harm, but I'm saying it's
just ignorance,
right?
Okay.
Like you walk. So look,
I mean,
for one thing, right? So they surveyed men who are on the street and they asked questions.
I've seen that,
about women's bodies. Yeah, and these dudes had no clue.
Well, and they also, I mean, there's a I mean, not to be funny, but there's an agenda there, right? So they are cutting out certain, like if people get it right, they just cut them out too, right? You understand that, right? Because it doesn't serve the purpose of the agenda.
Yes. But also,
the fact that
ninjas just don't be knowing.
Know. Right.
They don't know. And it is problematic. And I think even for women, there are women who don't know about their own body, bruh.
That's a
so
fact.
So it is, I think it's important for both to understand
I think it's
the
important
anatomy.
for females to know about their own body. I think it's important
vice versa
for guys to know about their own body.
I need to know
but
about
because I want the sexual experience to be in the confines of a marriage, I'm on my John Mayer. I'm on my John Mayer. Your body is a wonderland, dude. When you get that, y'all find all that stuff out there. Find it out there. Have fun. Go for it.
Yes, and they need to understand how the anatomy works. To me, I think if they understand how it works, like again, we're not raising our children we're not raising our children the way our parents raised us.
That's a fact.
So let's just their foundation is very different than our foundation. So my children already know, like they understand what sex was made for. They understand that God created sex. They understand that it's not a bad thing, but they also understand like, sex is made for marriage. So okay, if I allow this young man to do this to me, and if this happens, his sperm is going to get me pregnant. Like most of us did not have the knowledge or understanding of how it worked. We just did it. We just saw the surface. We saw what happened.
Y'all didn't understand sperm to egg?
No.
Not for real.
At 14? No.
At 14 we had.
I just thought that I'd get disease if I had sex at all.
That's all that was pushed. Don't get STD.
I'm not talking about
AIDS.
what Christianity taught. I'm talking about even in
I'm not talking about that either. I'm not talking about that either.
In school, y'all
they talked about STDs, AIDS, and HIV. I don't remember them. I do remember them teaching about the egg and the sperm, but that wasn't.
I remember that though.
That went in and out for me. I'm saying for me.
So the church taught me STDs. The world taught me, put it right here, sperm, egg, fallopian tube, whole shimmy jam.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that.
I am glad that nobody went into depth with me, because when I did experience it, it was like, cool. You know what I mean?
That's
like when I experienced certain things, I was like,
I want to have the information. Cool. No, I want to have the information before I go into that thing.
Yeah, I don't. And had I known what I could do to a clitoris at a certain age, it would have been a wrap. It would have been a wrap.
But I'm saying that right there is, to me, that's too much. Like I'm not saying explain to a boy how to give a woman pleasure. Right. I'm saying they need to understand the like Tashan said, the biology, the understanding of, okay, this is what is on a woman, this is on what is what on a man.
The biology.
Just that alone to me is like, if I don't know those basic, because that's basic. Those are just basic. It's just basic knowledge and information that many kids don't even know. Because their children are too afraid to tell them, like, oh no, I don't want to let them know what this means.
I just feel like that's part of the explore game. Like I remember being in my first real relationship, doing more than I was supposed to, and not knowing how to get her to a certain point. I remember that. And that was an experience. And because I had no business doing it anyway, it was actually being a good thing.
We're talking about two different things. I agree with you. I'm not saying explain to a young man how to please a woman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they need to understand biology, just the body parts. Understand the body parts. You can understand how it works as well. But that's not saying, okay, when you're putting your finger on here and you're doing all of this.
Y'all didn't learn that in school, though.
I learned it, but again, it was one class, one grade.
I had like 2 or 3 of them classes.
I did not. I
went to Christian school.
I did too. I went to private school.
Oh, y'all went to private school. No, I was in straight up Newport News public school.
Yeah, I was in public school too, and we got that in health class.
How many classes did you have though? Do you remember how many of those classes do you remember having?
None.
It was
not,
7.
No, not
was
y'all
what,
private
no,
schoolers.
It was,
I'm talking to
No,
public schools.
I did both public and
grade.
private. Sorry, go ahead, Brina.
No, I was just saying it was 7th and 8th grade. I remember.
You remember? So at least twice you remember having it.
Yeah.
I think I did. I think I remember having it in like twice in middle school and once in high school. So I mean, we knew that. Now the beauty of how it all really worked, I had no clue.
Well,
I had no clue.
I think having the basic knowledge of how it works, and I think Tasha said it well as well. Like a lot of people, a lot of children who don't understand and who are ignorant of both body parts, if they get molested or anything like that, they don't understand what's happening. So that's also a conversation. That's the reason why I spoke to my children about what is what on both body parts, what is friendly touch, what is good touch, and what is bad touch. Like all of that is all encompassing. We've had separate conversations of, okay, this is good touch, this is bad touch. And then the sex talk, that was another conversation. And there were levels at different ages. They had the different levels of what sex was. So it wasn't like all at once, I'm giving you everything. It was as they were getting older. Okay, now we need to explain to you what sex is, why it was created, how it works, all of that. Again, not going into too much detail. I think, again, you have to use discernment and be prayerful about how much you're giving to your child. But they do need to understand basic biology for both bodies. Because again, like when I was molested and when I was raped, of course, when I was raped, I understood. But like being molested at a young age, I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know what's happening. I'm completely ignorant and blind to anything. I don't know anything about sex.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. The only thing I know about sex is rape because I saw it on TV as a young girl. So it's like.
So I admit, so you're okay. So we've already had even conversations with my youngest about who is ringing my doorbell at 10:30 at night. I'm sorry. No. We've already had conversation with my youngest about what people are not to do, not to, all that jazz, right? We've already done that. Okay, what are you doing? I'm sorry, I'm watching this person on my doorbell cam.
Who is that? What are they doing?
She's got a dog. She just rang my doorbell and then I don't know. I'll be answering if you ain't made no plans, I ain't answering no doors. That's something I learned. Anyway, so babe, no need to answer the door. Anyway,
especially if y'all don't know who that is.
No,
not this late.
I don't know who it was. No. So anyway, listen. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So we've already talked to the youngest about, which is my she just turned 8 years old on Valentine's Day. She already knows where people are not to have their hands, placements, whatever the case may be. I do admit I was molested at a young age as well. And I admit that my parents did not tell me that at a young age. So I didn't exactly know what was going down when things happened. I know I wasn't necessarily supposed to be doing things, but I didn't know what was going down at all.
Right.
And I just fully didn't grasp what, but I never had, my parents never told me, don't let somebody do this to you. Don't let somebody do that to you, whatever the case may be. So I never knew. So we covered that. That's what I'm saying. We covered that. I just don't feel the need to go into body parts with my son. I want him to know about his body parts. My daughter, I want her to know about her body parts. I want the embarrassment, the fear of the unknown, and all that jazz to be there until they get married. Then they can F around and find out.
Get that.
No, let me tell you why that's not the best idea, and I'm gonna tell you why. For your son, let's talk about your son. Okay, how's he gonna know what to do? Let me tell you, many people who don't have a clue be so unsatisfied, so clueless.
That's part of the game.
It don't gotta be though.
No. That's part of the game.
It shouldn't be.
Anytime you first start getting it in, like you first start getting it in, it ain't good the first time. I mean, you learning, you trying to figure out.
According to whom? And who said that was okay?
Right, quote.
No.
You're right. Yeah, Trisha's definitely right.
No, quote.
I'm like, if the first time is off the chain, where y'all got to get to? Like, what's your next level?
No,
I'm not saying that it has to be off the chain.
You got to read this book. Quote, you got to read this book called The Great Sex Rescue. Super dope book. And you got to read The Good Guy's Guide to Having Great Sex for men, right? So if you're
Corey, come on.
Oh, for real.
Sorry.
If you're single or married, you should absolutely read this book. And part of the book is telling you, it goes against your theory completely about trying to figure it out when you go to your first time.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, Inez is here.
Yes.
We ain't saying I in a minute.
Yeah. Shouts out to Inez. It's been a minute. Good seeing you. Jamal Rucker in the chat.
Now, right?
Shouts out to Daryl in the chat. So I guess I hear what y'all are saying. I just don't. I don't see the net positive. I just don't see the net positive.
Okay, let me tell you the net positive. Matter of fact, you need to talk to some women who got into marriages and had no clue, and their husbands had no clue, or a lot of women who have gotten divorced, Christian women who've gotten divorced because their husband did not have a clue. And that was one of the main.
But I mean, come on. Are we giving those women a pass though? Like, come on now.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Like that's not a reason.
It is. Listen to me. I'm not saying it is I'm not saying it's a good reason. I'm saying that is what has happened statistically. There are so many women and men out here who are getting married. Talk about the purity culture. The purity culture.
Our kids ain't grow up in purity culture.
I know that, but there are still people who have that in them, right?
Yeah.
Who don't have a clue, or they're finding out through porn.
What's a fact?
When because they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. How am I going to know what to do? Nobody told me how to do it. So let me go find out how to do it. And they go find out the wrong way. And instead of hearing from their parents or having an educated understanding of what it means to have sex with their future wives, they go and do porn. And porn is horrible. It's not realistic. It's based off of foolishness, right?
Of course.
So then
Right.
So then they approach the marriage with that crazy mess, having these unrealistic expectations of their wife, thinking their wife's supposed to give it up all day, every day. They're supposed to be a sex slave or whatever. I'm just telling you.
Yo, she's right.
We have done research and study on this. It is not okay. I'm telling you.
Read the book. You gotta read the book.
If you as a child, if your son, just hear me out. If your son is not getting the knowledge and understanding of what sex is supposed to be like, if he is not getting it from his father, who knows best, right? Who knows better. If he's not getting it from you, where is he going to get it from?
Getting what portion of it, guys? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Understanding what to do. What is it for? What does this body part do?
Yeah. No. When it is that time, like I'm still trying to find out what y'all. Why
are we waiting until it's that time?
I don't understand. I don't understand why he need to know before. Why anybody needs to know beforehand? I don't understand.
To be prepared. What do you mean? If you're teaching him from a biblical perspective, you're not teaching him on some like, yo, I'm saying get ready 5 years before you're actually ready. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying use wisdom and discernment on how to explain it to him, but he needs to know. He needs to have an understanding.
Learning by experience is not always the best route. If you can get information beforehand, then you don't have to go through a bad experience.
By experience, majority of times, is never the best route.
So if you can get information ahead of time, then why not?
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Love you guys. No, I'm not doing it because I don't see the. Y'all still have not explained to me the net. I don't see.
We did. You just don't agree.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Look. Tashan said, I'm coming because Tashan, you're a virgin, right?
Shout out to the virgin.
She said they took sexuality class. Yeah. She took sexuality classes as an adult, and it was so helpful. And she's not out here wilding. Kiara said, "Don't worry, me and Kiara is going to teach these church women how to throw bachelorette parties." Listen. Even women, let me tell you this: even women who understand sex, right? who kind of have an understanding. They know what happens. Because other Christian women aren't saying, girl, like, enjoy sex. Like, it's pleasurable. This is what you can do. This is how you have an orgasm. Because we're not talking about it. I'm telling you, they're miserable in their marriage because they don't know what the heck to do.
And I am going to say, my thought process is, like I said, because we're not in purity culture anymore. That happened to our generation. That's not happening to these kids for the most part, right?
For the most part,
purity culture isn't where we're at right now, right? So this is my point. My point is, and like I said, I had plenty of girlfriends. When I say girlfriends, I mean girlfriends, not actual girlfriends, that told me, I mean, they got married, and because of purity culture, they didn't even know how to enjoy, need to do, whatever the case may be. They just didn't know, right? That's one thing. I'm talking like, I just don't see, I want you to not, I think there's something beautiful about a husband and a wife, two people ideally, who have never had sex before, getting in and figuring it out. And it's not going to be great the first time.
Absolutely.
But then you're going to learn together, and you're going to learn what pleases the other person, and you're going to learn what pleases the other person.
Absolutely.
And you'll make that happen. Now, because of purity, again, our kids aren't growing up in purity culture, but you have to but then communication has to happen. Healthy communication between spouse. Like, what is it? What DJ Envy's wife, she never had an orgasm like their first 7 to 10 years or something like that.
And why is that?
Because they did not communicate.
But let's go back. Who's teaching the women and men to communicate about sex? If we're not talking about it until they're married, who's teaching them?
I'm hoping that premarital counseling will mention something about that in your premarital counsel. So or if you have questions, open your dag on.
Who's gonna do that, quote? Nobody's gonna ask a question about how do I please my wife.
So that's just me. I guess it was just me. It was just, I mean, by the time I got to, by the time I got to my wife, I was good anyway. But my point is, you open your mouth and you ask questions.
Nobody's gonna do that, bro.
And if they don't, that's on them.
No, it's not.
But
I think it's parents' responsibility to understand my son or my daughter is not going to want to ask this question, so I'm going to tell him information or tell her information so that she doesn't have to ask
So yes, me circling back around when he's married or when she's married and saying, hey, so you doing what you do, you good, whatever the case may be.
Have the conversation before marriage, please.
Before marriage, bro, because that's way too late. Because then they definitely not going to want to do it.
I'm not even saying it has to happen before engagement. I'm saying even if it's okay, y'all are dating and your son comes to you like, Dad, I'm thinking about marrying this girl. Okay, then you can have the conversation even then.
Yeah.
I wish it was a little bit before. That's just me. But I'm saying it needs to happen before marriage. Like, I'm telling you, it will be detrimental if man or female, they don't have an understanding of sex or what it's meant for. I'm telling you, I know from experience, there's so many marriages, Christian marriages, who have not, they don't even know what sex is made for. They don't, because again, do you want the marriage to last? If you want the marriage to last, if you want to see them thrive, it has to be a conversation about what marriage is intended for. There are so many Christians getting married for the wrong reasons. And they think, oh, when I get married, all is going to be well. And I'm going to just have mad sex and it's going to be great. And that's so far from the truth. It's problematic because nobody's having these conversations.
But you
learn having these conversations.
If you slip
when
up
do you learn it? When?
You either learn it on your honeymoon.
Nah. Trish making a valid point because usually too, sex is way. And I think you said this too. Sex is way easier for men to adjust to after not doing it or being in a version than women are. So like a guy is always ready to do it. A guy, I mean,
listen.
We don't have a big job. All we got to do is, you know what I'm saying?
Let's. I think we all grown out here. Like I said, I don't see no teenagers in the chat. Dag nabbit.
Hold on, let me check the chat to find out. Because you know how.
At the end of the day, I mean, I'm at the point now where the sexual experiences at the end of the day is really for the woman. I say that loosely. What I mean by that is the man is ain't no man gonna have a hard time for the most part. It don't take much. You feel what I'm saying? Like
right.
Figuring out a situation out.
But if a woman don't know what to do, but if a woman don't know what to do,
listen. I don't know that I need you to know what to do.
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna be all right. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna be all right. No. From a guy. I don't know that I mean, listen, I can talk you do some things if I need some help from you, whatever the case may be. But getting a guy to that point is not hard at all. Getting a woman to that point is a whole nother ball game.
And that's exactly why I think a man needs to understand what to do.
I agree with you on that. And I agree. Okay, so I can agree with you on that.
Okay.
I can agree with you on that. Like I said, I encourage any married man I know. The goal is the thing is just please her first. That's the thing. You just take care of her when she get where she need to go. Then you fair game, yo. You got her where she needed to go.
But it's also, aside from that, it's also a mental, some mindset, right? Because even for the woman, it's not just about her pleasing you, and it's not just about you pleasing her, right? It is how do we serve one another, right? And I think it goes past just understanding the physical part. It's also the mindset. But we have to have those conversations before marriage, before engagement, before a relationship, because I need to know what the heck I'm getting into.
But listen, when you talk about serving one another, when you talk about serving home, and maybe I am, Tasha, maybe I am, because Lord knows I aims to please. Yeah, I mean. But anyway, listen. So when you talk about serving one another, every individual is different. Every relationship is different. There's only one way that you can learn how to serve your spouse, and that is only by communicating with your spouse. What works for one doesn't always work for the other. Yada yada yada. Boom,
Charles,
boom, boom.
Sit down.
They have to talk. They have to talk. They have to deal with each other. They have to, I like this. I like this. This gets me here. This gets me here. Yada, yada, yada.
But some people won't know what gets them there. And that's okay. I think that's okay.
I believe that's a woman thing. I don't believe that's a man thing.
No, if a man is a virgin, how will he know what gets him where?
He will find out very quickly.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm okay with exploring. I love the fact that two virgins. I wish that we were all virgins and we could come together and explore each other's bodies, and it would be like, oh my gosh, such a mystery, unveiled, whatever. But for those for those who may not be virgins but still don't really know, like, they're still growing in that. It's like y'all need to have again knowledge and understanding, like wisdom on what all of this means and looks like.
Exactly.
But anyway,
Charles.
We can.
I really think this conversation, in my opinion, I think
we're 38 minutes in, by the way,
is more of a, and I'm not trying to be funny. I just think this is more of a woman conversation.
No, it's a man and woman conversation.
Ultimately, it becomes a man and woman conversation. It becomes a husband and wife conversation.
You gotta read these books. Books.
Ultimately, I feel like it is the woman who needs to maybe know herself better, because it is y'all that take a little bit longer to get to where things need to go. I am telling you, dudes don't really have that problem.
Quote, blaming the women.
But do you understand
it's not blaming the women?
But the men who study porn, which is a majority of men, Christian, non-Christian,
says study that.
When they study porn, listen to what I'm saying. How it affects their brain, they bring it to the bedroom. And
I don't disagree again, with
what you're saying about women, it takes a while for us to get to that point, right? If a man is going in with porn on the brain, it's going to be a fight in the bedroom. It's going to be a fight.
No,
it's not going to help. It's
if
not
he's going in with that on the brain, You're absolutely right. He's up for a lot of disappointment.
And also, I'm saying across the board though, like the conversations and classes need to be available for. And honestly, I know everybody is different. Like you say, I agree with that. Everybody is different, but I think that there has to be conversations prior to marriage, prior to engagement, prior to a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, for both men and women. It's not just for men and women. There are women that don't know, women who have been sexually abused and raped and all of that who don't. It's like sex in itself is horrible.
There are women that don't know.
Sex in itself is horrible to some of us. We don't even want it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like we need to have the conversations on what sex was intended for and all the things. Explore it all.
I'm sorry for bringing this up.
Tasha, what is that? I don't want to. Tasha. Okay, anyway. So,
welcome everybody to the Tastemakers podcast.
That might have to be on the Patreon. We might have to really dig in this unfiltered without using code words. We should. On the Patreon.
How was your weekend, really quote?
Dig into this.
Don't be trying to now. You're the one that started it, and now you're gonna try to switch it.
And honestly, I think it was a good conversation to have. And
I've been knowing how to get the party started.
Ultimately, the communication
I be knowing
needs to be there, right? But listen, so check it out. And I'm sorry. So listen, we're gonna, of course, bypass the how's you doings and all that jazz and how's everybody's week been. We're gonna bypass all that. Let's get right into the meme of the week. Glad you guys are with us. Make sure to like and subscribe. I think we're gonna have these conversations a little bit deeper on the Patreon. Matter of fact, if you got that Patreon QR code, Bree.
Yep.
Definitely. If you're watching on your TVs, maybe if you're watching on your laptops, go ahead and scan your phone right here. Right there, that'll take you right to the Patreon. You'll get invited to the group chat. You'll get to see the exclusive videos that we have and conversations that we have. And this, Tastemakers After Dark conversation right here, I think we could pick up a little bit more on the Patreon, a little bit more freely in a more intimate setting. So that is what it is, y'all. Let's go ahead and get to these memes of the weeks. What's popping?
Right. This one is Corey's.
If my paycheck and taxes drop on the same day, I might buy everybody some eggs.
I know that's right.
I'm not even sure yet.
No, what was really hilarious about that is I don't know yet, though. I don't know yet. I don't know yet, though.
I'm about to go buy me a chicken. That's what I'm about to do. I know some people who are in my church that sell chickens. I'm about to go buy me a chicken.
That is the new way, because I just seen some farmers like, our eggs is free. I was like, ooh. That's a great idea.
That's a fact.
Hey, chickens aren't very expensive. That's black people walking around with pet chickens. Good and well, ain't no pet chicken lasting too long in no black household.
No,
that joint, it's gonna end up on the grill. It's gonna end up on the stove. Anyway, next.
Let's see.
Also, make sure to like and subscribe. Do all the things, y'all. Appreciate y'all here.
Sex with me is amazing.
Really? That's where we at? Okay.
Rihanna's on
this
my brain.
One is
wait until the end.
Hey, you might have to start that one over.
Have you downloaded the album?
Are y'all
wait until the end.
Okay.
Have you downloaded the album yet, or you just streaming it? You just streaming it? She's just streaming it. We all download it.
Yep.
You gotta be super supportive. $11.99, no hugs. $11.99. God bless you. $11.99.
God bless you.
Go get it.
I'm mad at the video was skipping like that.
That's past, video was skipping. That was that Pastor Mike Jr.
Yep. That was Pastor Mike Jr.
Low key, he making some noise. He making some real noise in the game.
High key.
Yeah.
Well, high key. Yeah, high key.
That's a new Ty Tribbett.
Yeah. He's got this joint out called Windows that sounds, it's so Silk Sonic. It's so Silk Sonic. Yeah, it's a joint called Windows. It's on the playlist. Speaking of the playlist, Brina, if you don't mind. So good. Guys, the best Christian hip hop, pop, and R&B playlist in the game. I promise you. You can get it on Spotify. You can get it on Apple Music. Again, just hold your phone, scan the QR code, do the thing. It's the best in the game. And tracks like Windows by Pastor Mike Jr. is on that joint as well. So that is what it is. Make sure to do the things. Also, this stuff will be in the descriptions. All right, what's next?
All right, the next one. This one is Trisha's.
You're missing it because the video is skipping. It looks so weird.
Oh man! So what was he doing? Like clapping off beat?
He was like just being like hurry up,
to it, like
hurry up.
Yeah. Do it. All right. Yeah. Somebody trying to make their point. Yeah. I got yes. And then speaking of, here's the thing. Speaking of Kevin on stage and that chick Angel, this is why that chick Angel is. She's going to be awesome on Black Lady Sketch Show on HBO with this new seasons. But check this out right here.
For application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Brina,
Angel, real quick before we go to the
computer.
Person,
I'm messing with you.
Someone said, Angel, how can I get my hair to be super thick like yours? It's so voluptuous.
Okay, so one of the things you need is water. You need water. Mm-hmm. You got to water it every day. Then you need money to be able to make a wig.
Oh. Wait a minute.
Out of human hair.
Wait a minute.
It's human. See, I spray this. I spray this. It all works very well. And then
I wish this thing was
like a snapback.
You strap it.
I am weak.
And then you.
Angel! Taking her whole thing off.
Angel! Gotta get in there.
Angel is absolutely hilarious.
There you go.
That's how you get it. Listen, Angel giving y'all the secrets. People don't really give y'all.
Period.
All right, we good. We good. So Angel is just a trip, yo. I had no, like when she did that, I had no clue. They was like, yo, Angel, so somebody's in the question and asked, how do you keep your hair so full? And it's just like, well, first you got to have the water and you got to have the water. Then you got to have some money. And she proceeds to take this thing off her hair.
We just saw it. We just saw
it. I'm just saying, you ain't really get the experience because of the choppiness. But it is what it is. Angel is hilarious. So that's what it is. Of course, you got to lock right here to the Tastemakers Pod. We haven't even introduced ourselves. That be Trisha Bell. That's light skin Corey. That be Brina right there. They call me, quote, I think y'all done chased Inez away as soon as she came back. Inez, you still hanging?
I hope she's still here.
Inez, she's hopefully Inez is still hanging out with us. It just, anyway. So listen, we got these topics tonight that we're going to go ahead and get into, y'all. We're going to talk about your man, ChrisBrown. And has he kind of become, I guess, a villain of sorts? And then we'll talk about the He Gets Us commercials and just kind of the controversy going on there. And let's see here. We'll talk about Rihanna, the Superbowl halftime show. We'll talk about your girl, Tiphani Montgomery, calling Christians unbelievers for going to Beyonce's concert. And that'll be it for tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe. Do all the things. Again, it means the world for us just for you to hit the like button right there. And of course, if you want to hit the Cashapp, it's right there scrolling below. And of course, if you want to join the Patreon, make sure to do that as well.
Do the Patreon. Don't do the Cashapp.
Yeah. Do it all because, getting $38.50 from people isn't always easy. So it'd be great if we can get that from you guys. Appreciate it. So speaking of the next topic, Goss.
We weren't speaking of the next topic, but I'll kick it off. So Bree, if you can pull that up one time for the one time. So your man Chris Breezy was on the Shade Room and a fan was like, hey Chris, when are you performing at the Super Bowl? We need you on the next one. And I think Chris, this is a very self-aware moment where Chris knew he's not for mainstream media no longer. Because everybody can get forgiven except Chris. And I'm trying to figure out why, right? So why is it that it seems there's an unofficial blackballing when it comes to these award shows or when it comes to these academies or when it comes to these, just these Chris on TV performing in front of people and his fans? Because we know Chris going to kill it. We know he's going to give you a good show. We know what Chris can do. Plus he's from Virginia. So, you know what I'm saying? So like, we know what C Breezy can do. So why can't my man get on the show? Yes, Chris, you're right. I'm sorry, Charlie. You're right. Everybody hates Chris. That should be the hashtag for this segment. But so yeah, I mean, is it just me, or y'all think Chris ain't for mainstream?
No. Chris has been blackballed out here, and I mean, like I said, it's really a shame that none of us will get to see the Chris Brown Sierra tribute in its glory, the way it should have been to Michael Jackson that they did.
That's a fact.
That's like it's an utter shame that didn't happen. Chris Brown is probably one of the best performers of this generation. I don't know if I can say our generation, but this generation per se. And he does get slighted. I believe he does get treated like a villain. Now, don't get me wrong. Chris ain't no perfect angel in this situation.
Not at all.
Not at all. But the media has, since Riri and him, when Chris was 17 or 18 years old, the situation that went down with him and Riri.
Oh no, he was a little older. Wasn't he slightly older than that?
I mean, when you say slightly,
he was a little bit.
It's either 17
like 18
or 19.
Something.
I mean, I said 17 or 18.
He was young.
He might have been 18, 19.
Yeah.
He wasn't above 19. I know that for sure. He was not 20 or anything like that. So since that situation, the media has portrayed him in certain ways. Even some things like Robin really did him dirty media-wise and whatever the case may be. Like so anyway, just things have happened, whatever the case may be. Chris does not do himself favors sometimes, though. When you've been famous since a kid and you're used to having things your way and you're used to being that cat everywhere you go, there are certain mentally developmental issues that I just believe you don't always grow up as fast as you need to.
Sure.
And I think some of it's even apparent with the Robert Glasgow situation that just popped off last week.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
even the way he came at it was like,
yeah. And don't get me wrong, he
bruh.
cleaned it up. He hit Robert in the DMs and cleaned it up.
He did.
Apologized.
I missed that.
Hey, look, man, I did my research. I listened to you. You're amazing. Whatever the case may be. He did that whole thing. I apologize for boom, boom, boom. Even though I feel like we maybe shouldn't have been in the same category, but and I get that. Yada, 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 boom, boom, all that jazz. But Chris can be a spoiled brat. But Chris is from VA, so I ride with Chris, forever. Because, and I think Chris is, he's probably one of the most talented. He's easily one of the most talented, top 3 talented of this generation for sure. And there was a lot from his career that we didn't get to see, I believe, because of how media sometimes portray him. What anybody else got to say on that?
I don't know if it's about how media portrays him. I think it's how he portrays himself a lot of times, to be honest with you. But I do think, he did apologize. Like, he's apologized publicly quite a bit. And yeah, I thought it was odd that they didn't let him perform the Michael Jackson tribute. I didn't understand that, because I thought that that the media was kind of like past some of the things that had happened in the past. So I don't know. It was interesting.
Did they say specifically like he couldn't perform for that reason? Like,
they didn't give. I don't think they ever gave a reason. They just said he couldn't perform.
Like, we just know, like that's what it was.
Yeah. I don't. Marcos, when you say his music isn't helping him out, what do you mean?
Marcos, what you mean? Let us know what you mean by that. His music.
So when we talk about the boy Chris Brown, and we talk about the greatness of just everything that he's done, and we call him one of the GOATs of our generation and one of the best performers, we mention him in the same breath as performance-wise when we're talking about Beyonce, we're talking about, these great performers that we've heard about and that we've actually seen, on things like that. We have to understand also that there is a image and there's an agenda that these pop stars have to live up to as well, right? And we can't even use the race card about saying, well, it's because he's black and that's why they're blackballing him, because there's other entertainers of color who have done, and this is after he's done stuff with Rihanna, but there are entertainers who have done other things, but they get away with it, or maybe they don't get away with it. Maybe we just don't know the consequences because we're not paying attention, or the light is not on them as much. But I think that to say that Chris Brown is not like, he's not for mainstream media, that is, I would say, why? Because if we're saying that Bad Bunny is still for mainstream media, and he beat up one of his fans and threw their cell phone in the water, right? But Bad Bunny still gets all this press, gets to be.
He beat her up. He beat her up. He just threw her phone.
Nah. Yes, he did.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I saw that. I'm sending you the article.
Okay.
Who else? When I had a list of artists, I can't remember the artists anymore. But there are several other artists who are on the either like very much on the rise or who have gotten there that have done, not heinous acts, but have done things that aren't necessarily the best to make them look good, and they still allowed to. So I think that once you mess up the image of what the media wants you to be, then they stop letting you be at those award shows. Because Chris came out as the young kid from Virginia, pretty boy, can sing real good, boy next door, kind of, whatever. And because he didn't stay in that lane, it's like, well, since you're not going to stay in that lane, get out of here. Because he's not on par with the agenda anymore. So I think that's it more so than it is. He doesn't make music for mainstream media or whatever the whatever he said. But I think it's more so he's just not with the politics of mainstream media more so than anything.
But didn't he stalk somebody or do something crazy like that after the whole Rihanna situation? I thought I saw that.
Was it Kalani? Some issues with Kalani? Was it who was it?
I don't know who that was.
What's the girl's name?
Not Kalani.
Who was it?
I can't remember. I thought he was stalking like somebody else. I don't know. I mean, that's just it. If he's still displaying like toxic behavior, like that's one of the risks of, doing something crazy like that. You can't control how other people perceive you afterwards. That's just the downside. I mean, we forgive, but people don't forget. And I think because of how public that situation was, people still remember the photos and everything.
And Rihanna is loved.
Yep.
And I really think
I'm part of the Navy, by the way.
I really think that's what it is. I think the photos of Rihanna is what killed his career. I think that's what killed his career, really. And that's what like some people will never forget the photos of Rihanna. No matter that Rihanna's admitted that she hit him as well. She admitted that she started it, all that jazz. But people will not forget those photos of Rihanna. And that's just kind of it. Like I said, my only recourse, of course, we all know that no man should put his hands on a woman. We know that for sure. I just don't necessarily feel like Goss. I don't feel like Brown was a man when he did it. And when I'm talking about a man, like mentally, like like a man, like he wasn't of drinking age at that time.
Like
so
it was still wrong.
Fully formed.
No, I'm not saying. I never said it was right. You know what I mean? But again, Rihanna did admit very much so that she antagonized it, and she gave him what he gave her before he gave her.
Rihanna, bro, like you fumbled the bag with that one.
I mean, yeah, I mean that would have been the ideal situation for them had they.
He fumbled his career.
You fumble, yeah. I mean, and when we say that very loosely, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, Goss Brown has still made millions upon millions of dollars,
right?
And he's still a superstar theoretically. It's just his star should have been brighter than it ended up being. So
that's the consequences of his actions.
Yeah,
he should have controlled himself. Period.
When he was a kid, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm of the nature that no man should ever hit a woman. I'm also of the mindset that people should just keep their hands to themselves, male or female.
Period.
I'm very much so of that.
Oh, he abused Karrueche too.
That's who I was looking for.
Okay, so it started with a K. I couldn't.
Yes.
Oh,
I said Kalani. That's who I was looking for.
You're right. Okay.
Now, I don't remember all the details of what happened with Karrueche, but I remember there was some situations there as well.
I didn't know that he abused. I didn't know she was abused, but I do know he was being extra, still talking about her name and songs, and they had been broken up, and she was with somebody else when he wrote that. So I listen. That
all I know is when he wrote Deuces about her. That song was so hot. Oh. Deuces was such a hot track.
It was. But also
for the birds.
The dude in his song also very toxic. Also very toxic. The other guy in the song, what's his name?
Kevin McCall?
Yes. Extremely toxic and abusive. Yes. He's another one. He's another one.
Wow.
And Fab?
Gotcha. It wasn't Fab in that track. Fab on that track.
Fab was on that joint?
Not Fabulous, no.
Yes.
Wasn't it remix?
No,
the remix.
Fabulous.
I thought it was in a remix.
Oh, a remix. Maybe a remix. The original had 2 rappers on it. Fabulous was not one of them.
And Kevin, yeah.
So
I think it had the other
that joint got me. That joint got me through a whole broken off engagement. Deuces.
Wow. You're telling on yourself right now.
Deuces.
He really is.
I love that joint there. That joint was that joint got me through. That joint got me through.
Crazy.
Find you a song to get you through.
Tiger. Yes, Tiger was on
Tiger.
Yeah. Kevin McCall was also, he had like a small verse on the joint.
Tiger's overrated too. I don't know how Tiger gets all this acclaim.
She Paula Patton thick. She give me deja vu. That was a hot line in that song too. But anyway, so that's Chris Brown.
Quote toxic, yo. Yeah, I'm convinced.
No, Paula Patton thick. Hold on. Paula Patton thick. That was a heck of a line. Like,
I'm not talking about the line.
It's not thick.
Married to Robin Thicke at the time, huh? You said I'm toxic because of what?
Yeah. Anyway,
she Paula Patton thick. Her name was Paula Patton thick.
Yeah.
Anyway, she give me deja vu because she was in the movie. Anyway, okay, why am I toxic again?
Charles is like, right, Paula Patton.
Yeah, Paula Patton was never thick though. That's so true.
I was like,
but it was a great bar though. It was a great bar.
That's true.
Anyway,
I didn't think about that.
Gosh, why am I toxic again? I'm talking
about it on the Patreon. Go ahead and move to the next topic.
I want to shoot. Let's discuss my toxicity.
We ain't got time.
Let's see. But
we ain't got time.
So Chris Brown, I don't know what our conclusion is, but at the end of the day, Chris never really had a chance after the photos came out with Rihanna. So
yeah.
Deuces.
So that was that. Indeed. So there's been a lot of things going on about these here commercials. Let's go and get one of these commercials in here real quick. You guys will recognize it. Let's do that.
Is that prop?
I know, right?
God did.
No.
And I'm gonna need you to.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm human.
So, of course, the He Gets Us commercials have been anywhere. You guys have seen them on commercials on TV, of course, on your YouTube ads, and of course, this past weekend on the Super Bowl, when we know those commercials cost $7 million. You know what I mean? But everybody has all these questions about these He Gets Us commercials. I think a lot of people love them. As a Christian, I just love seeing it in general. You know what I mean? But now there's been a lot of discussions about who's really backing them financially, to who's really a part, to, they should just preach the gospel, they doing too much, to they don't like homosexuals and they're against they're pro-life. So, so everybody's having a bunch of issues. Matter of fact, if I can get that Ruslan tweet real quick, Bree. And I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it. But Ruslan said, hey, conservative evangelicals are saying He Gets Us is preaching another gospel. The left is losing it because it's funded by a hate group because they don't support same-sex marriage. You can't make this stuff up. All right. So all that to say, what are y'all thinking and what do y'all know about the He Gets Us joint?
So Monday, I came in the office and me and my pastor had a conversation, and we it's funny because he made me think of an opposing argument that made me disagree with him. But when we first started the conversation, I wasn't even thinking the train of thought that he was saying until he brought it up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I do disagree with you." So his point of view is that we should celebrate because, it's somebody spent a lot of money and it's bringing people together and it's good for the culture. And there's no way that Christians should be upset with this in any way, shape, or form. If you say you're a follower of Jesus, then this should be something that we want because it shows everything going on in the world. And it shows that no matter where you stand at in any space of life, that Jesus gets you. Right. So that was his argument, not argument, but that was his stance of why we should all
your
pastor.
It.
Correct.
Okay.
And so that's why we should all applaud it. So I was like, yeah, Wags, no doubt. I'm with you on that. So then he started a dialogue on the rebuttals of what people were saying against it. And as he kept saying it more, I started agreeing with the people who disagreed with him. So I was like, nah, you tripping, Wags. Nope. Nah, I now agree with the other people. And the other people, and my man Legacy Jones, if he's still in here, he was one of the other people that I think said something about this when he was tweeting about it. And then my guy who lives out here as well, too. So the other side of the argument was, that commercial's dope. I'm glad that's up there. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that we can, seemingly do what we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, have these racial reconciliation conversations, have these conversations about white and black, LGBTQ, and all the issues that stand before the church. But if that commercial doesn't move to anything, then that commercial is pointless. Then that commercial is for what? You just did $7 million to make yourself feel good? Because that's and these are the people talking who are critical of the commercial. Well, some of the people that were critical of the commercial because they felt like it was just another kumbaya moment. And then they brought in also the whole thing that's going on in Kentucky right now, where they're having a 7-day revival that was the chapel service and now turned into a revival. And they're still round the clock doing this worship service. And 2 people from my church are actually down there. They drove down there to go be a part of it. So that's like a big deal now, too. And one of my black friends on Facebook was like, yeah, that whole revival down there in Kentucky, that's cool. But is that going to lead to reparations? So it's the same, right? No, but it's the idea of, hey, we have to move past looking good for something, and how are we going to change the hearts of people? Because a commercial's not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So it's like doing a 2-week revival, just a revival in itself, and making it the novelty of, man, they're worshiping God 24 hours for 7 days. But is that going to change y'all's heart? Is that going to make y'all not be racist? Is that going to
There's a lot of white people in there. I didn't see any black people there.
I shouldn't say all.
What am I in the Kentucky joint?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't know, but I only saw white folk.
I mean, I'm not from Kentucky. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It's black people in Kentucky and Louisville.
I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for about 5 years. It's Kentucky. Like I said, don't get me wrong. It's just segregated. It's very segregated. Let's say that.
So I now agree more with the counter arguments of, we've done this before, y'all. What's it gonna do? And let's put some action to it. And that's what my revolutionary activist brothers were saying, that some people may take, yeah, that's true, but just looking for what this is. This is so good. And the thing is, we're tired of looking. We're tired of thinking something's gonna happen, and then nothing happens.
Here's my question. What?
My bad. Go ahead.
What was the commercial's intent? I think that's what I don't know. Like what the intent behind it was, and what is the website leading us to? Like, what is the call to action?
Okay. Is that the only one of the commercials you've seen, or have you ever seen any of the other commercials?
I just saw that one during the Super Bowl. I didn't see.
You've never seen any of the other ones before, ever?
No,
I haven't either.
Really?
Yeah, right.
Never.
Really?
Yeah.
I see them on YouTube. As I'm on YouTube, I see them all the time. I guess I see them on TV too as I'm watching shows.
Yeah, I heard about the campaign, but I had never seen any of the commercials. But just from the name alone, like I kind of took it as, okay, they're trying to relate this to like Jesus understands the human experience because he was, he was on earth. He lived as a human. When he says, love your enemies, he's literally praying for the people that nailed him to the cross. Like, there's a lot of relatable events in his life that we can relate to our human experience. That's what I took it as. I haven't done any more research to see
based on the other. I've seen like 3 or 4 of these. I've been seeing these commercials.
So are the other ones like that too, or
similar? Yeah,
okay,
but with different aspects. This one was more about how people are just be angry at each other. Other joints be like maybe a bunch of homeless people or something like that. And maybe, Jesus had nowhere to lay his, whatever. Just Jesus gets us in every situation we are, in every place we are, social, whatever, race, whatever. Jesus gets us. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the joint. I can't believe y'all ain't seeing these commercials.
I hadn't.
They paying a lot of money for y'all to see these commercials. I don't know how y'all ain't seeing these commercials. I see them everywhere. I see them everywhere. But go ahead. But so yes, your point of that is pretty much that's it. Any thoughts concerning?
No, I mean, I just took it like this. It seems like another glorified "What Would Jesus Do" campaign. Like, I don't know who's behind it. That's I did see some like information on an agency, but I don't know who's really like associated with the whole thing. That's what I'd like to know too.
So go ahead, Trisha, and then I'll answer some of those questions, Riri.
No, I was on the website just looking to see what they are. Looks like they're a nonprofit. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really have an opinion either way. I did think the commercials were really dope. I was like, what's the point? Like, what's the CTA? You know what I'm saying?
So Brina just telling you what the point was. Yeah. Does that make any more sense?
No, it does. No? It does. Okay. It does make more sense. And then even Charles saying that it's a research site meant to funnel visitors to local churches, which is really dope. I think that's dope.
So y'all have any thoughts about I guess I'll just go. So it seems like they're pulling a lot of Christian thought leaders into it, and Christian business people per se. For instance, I guess the guy that owns Hobby Lobby is a part of it. Chris Broussard of ESPN, Fox Sports, and The King is a part of it. And different things like that on their website. They say we are not left, we are not right, or whatever the case may be. And they did an interview with Chris Broussard on it. And as I understand, they got like $1 billion to spend. That's another thing. They got like
who? From where?
From all these business owners and whatever the case may be that are putting towards it.
That's
but
crazy.
What it really is about is, and so even that's coming to fire. Like they're saying, well, how do you have $7 million so now people are saying, how do you have $7 million to spend at the Super Bowl? And maybe y'all could have spent the $7 million wisely, more wisely, whatever the case may be, and stuff like that. Like, I hate when people be in other people's pockets. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
So my point is, I enjoy the commercials. I've seen at least 4 of them. And I love what they're doing. And it is, humanizing the human experience, and that Jesus gets us. He's there for us. And so the ultimate goal from Chris Broussard's mouth is to rebrand or repurpose American Jesus. All right. Not rebrand Jesus, but a realizing that the Jesus we presented in America, the Christianity that we presented in America, it's kind of wild, and it has some things attached to it. Maybe it has a political party attached to it, or a certain policies attached to it, or whatever the case may be. It's got a lot of stuff attached to it. You know what I mean? And so their goal is to kind of rebrand what that looks like. We just let's get to who Jesus was, and Jesus loves you, and and so my thing is, just let's be extremely frank. I believe that is important to American culture because we've got it twisted, and we have not done well of this. We've not done a good job of this. Number two, if they want to spend $7 million on a commercial, and if only one person out of the however billion people that are watching the Super Bowl decide they need to get back in church or get back to their relationship with Christ or whatever the case may be, then it is worth that $7 million. In my opinion. So, I
don't know, man.
That's my thought. I think people will always have a say, especially in the world we live in now, of what's what. And if we can get that a meme tweet real quick, and then I'll go to Goss. People will always have he's talking about what happened this past weekend. He said, Sam Smith performs at the Grammys. It was demonic. I agree here, but wasn't shocked. Rihanna performs at the Super Bowl. This is worldly and demonic too. She wore red. He gets us ads. These suck. Worst ads of the night. No one likes these weak, woke Jesus ads. They're not preaching a solid gospel anyway. Or why spend this much money on the ads and do something else with the money? It's just people are always going to have something to say about what the next cat is doing.
That's true. But at the same time, at what point do we think that we can rebrand Jesus? Like what? Like that, for him to say that, and for him to think
you're missing it. I don't know if I should let you continue or I should interrupt you.
No, I think I got what you said. Well, let me think what I think you're saying.
Okay,
you're saying that Chris Broussard said that we need to rebrand the American version of Jesus. And
there we go. Yeah, so we can rebrand the American version of Jesus all we want, because that ain't real Jesus. Yo.
So I heard what you said. So let me get back to my point. So that bothers me a lot. And I've been bothered a lot here this week, within the last week, just with I'll talk about that later. But the fact that we think that we can rebrand Jesus, that that doesn't sit well with me as a Christian, where it's like we're like, that's as if we're in control. That's as if we make the decisions on what Jesus looks like, or we make the decisions on how somebody can meet Jesus. Like, I just think about a lot of instances where people met Jesus for themselves without a rebranding, quote unquote. And they may have heard about Jesus doing something. They may have heard about Jesus not doing something. But then when people met him, I'm talking about biblically, when people met him in the Bible, they had their complete different experience. And it was typically Jesus did something for him and then told them, don't tell nobody, and things like that. But the idea that we have some kind of control, we all know control is an illusion. The idea that we have some kind of control on how Jesus looked, like not the church, not Christians, not religion, but literal Jesus. And again, that idea that we have control of that is crazy to me.
I don't think it's so much control. I think it's the fact that he's been misrepresented for so long. When you actually have a group of people who have the good sense and the dollars, behind them to say, okay, we're going to tell the truth about Jesus. Like, this is who he really is. This is what he's really like. He's not aligned to a political party. He's not, he doesn't play favoritism to a particular race of people. He doesn't, this is who he really is. And so I think when you see that type of campaign, they're going after a certain demographic of people who clearly don't know. Like, I don't think we can rebrand him, but the only thing about, Jesus, about the gospel, everything, it's word of mouth anyway. So
that's what I'm saying, but that if we do that in commercial form or media form, then that takes the legitimacy away from what from what you're saying we're trying to do, because we already know people don't trust the news. People don't trust stuff on mainstream media or mainstream TV, but it's when they have experiences with somebody like you, Brina, and you show them a Jesus that they've never heard of before, or that they have an experience with you to where they're like, oh wow, I didn't know Jesus could be like this, or I didn't know this was the real Jesus like. So we'd have more success if we did it on a grassroots foundation or formula and a person-to-person word of mouth than trying to do it from a grand stage media, because we know people don't believe the media anyway.
But there's more than one way to get that out, though. Like it's not just
Brina, no, there's not. There's only one way to do this, Brina. There's only one way. Of course, there's
which is essentially what Goss is.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know why Quote got so excited.
Because I hate when people judge what other people are doing, and I'm like, well,
judging.
you do what you do, and every
judging.
joint supplies, and I you do you, they do they, and hopefully by different whatever, cats will come to Jesus. You know what I mean?
I think they said it. I think they said it well in the chat. It's more about rebranding Christianity, American Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think we all know that American Christianity does need a rebrand. It needs to be like, it's what it is off completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, and to that point, like, let's do it. I'm here for that. If that's actually what they're going to be doing.
They're probably not, because there's too much money involved, and we know money and Jesus don't mix.
I mean, I don't. Oh, sorry. I'm so tired. I don't know if that's what it is, but I think. I mean, we'll see. I guess we'll see.
I don't trust it, man. There's too much money involved in it.
Charles said you sound like the old church mothers who would tell him
Good.
his rapping ain't the way to witness.
Good. I love the old church.
You know, we didn't do all that rappity rap to spread Christ. You know what I mean? We didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't necessary. That's not the way to do it. Man, there's so many. There's so many ways to do this. And we all just need to do what it is that we have in our heart to do. But if cats want to do what they are doing, coming together in unity as Christians with a level of power and influence, and do this, salutes, do what you do. And the next man can do what he do. We need it on the grassroots level. We need it on the media level, mass media level. We need it in every level. Let's, so yeah. So that's what it is. Yes. And the only reason why I'm a little frustrated is because, again, I think it's very obvious that we're not talking about, we're talking about what America has done to Christianity and how America has branded Jesus, which is not, it's not legit. Like most people, I mean, at the smallest point right now in America, when cats hear Christian, they automatically think at the smallest point that you as Republican is all get out. Right. Like that's off jump. That's the first joint before we even get into anything else. You Republican, you a bigot, you hate these people, you do this, whatever the case may be. It's silliness. There's a framing that has happened that is contradictory to the message and love of Christ. And so that is what they are combating. I think that's a good move. I think if anybody has an issue with it, they need to make sure that they move is strong. And so that's my thought process. On to the next.
Yes.
All on you, Trisha.
Oh, yes. So if you watched the Super Bowl, then you saw Rihanna's historic performance as she presented a special guest in her amazing set. Brina, do you have footage?
I do.
Let's go, Navy.
Take it away.
The Navy better represent.
This classic gift right here.
Look at that forehead.
What? Leave her forehead alone.
I got a big forehead too.
And it was at that very moment that I realized she was pregnant. I said, "Oh, she pregnant."
Prego Dago.
I said, "Oh my gosh." And everybody was like, don't speculate. She didn't say. I said, that woman is pregnant. Period.
That's a fact.
Yeah, all of that lit social media up. Everybody was speculating at that point.
Yes.
That boy said, my name is ASAP for a reason.
So, yeah. Rihanna did the daggone thing. Probably the first person ever to be pregnant and perform at a halftime show. How did you guys like the show?
Man, I love that thing. You understand me? Loved it. That made me a member of the Navy after seeing that. And the Navy is Rihanna's fan club. After seeing that performance. And, you know, I really had to like get some people together on Facebook because they were trying to say the performance was trash. The performance was lame. It was boring.
It was wild.
Listen, I want you to be pregnant, dance and sing and dangle from the air from 500 feet. Okay?
And be suspended up all the way in the air.
Suspended up in the air. Ain't no way on God's green earth that performance was boring. And the thing that killed me is that everybody got an opinion who has never performed nothing in their life, let alone the Super Bowl. So that's what really got me hot too. You know what I'm saying? And
I was also hot, Corey, on that.
I was, people saying that. Yeah, for real. And I'm just like, bruh. Y'all if you're not entitled, spoiled. Go ahead, Trish. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that if you're not a fan of Rihanna or you don't know all her hits, like I feel like a lot of people was not feeling it. But I'm like, yo, this girl got hits for days. Like,
she got hits for days. She got hits for free. She got more hits than Beyonce.
She does. And Rihanna has never, ever been a dancer. She's never been that. Like, she'll dance a little bit or whatever. She'll dance more than that. But she has never done more than the 2-step, a couple of 8 counts, and that was it. Like, she has I did not expect
little
her
dirty
to come
wine
out
and
doing all this like crazy 8 counts and choreography like that. I really did not expect that at all. So my thing was like, yo, just do the hits. And she looked amazing. She did all of that suspended in the air again, pregnant. Okay.
What y'all
pregnant.
Want, what y'all want from her?
Listen, as a mother, I said, she a superhero because I could never. I would not.
A whole superhero.
I would not.
So, Beyonce. Rihanna did.
Whoa.
Karen Wallace.
Who is Karen Wallace?
Shouts out to Karen Wallace in the chat.
Who is this?
Wait, did you just say Beyonce is not a singer?
Who's Karen Wallace?
Karen.
Who is this Karen?
And Rihanna can't sing. Rihanna is not a singer.
No. Beyonce can sing better.
She can carry a note.
Y'all know I'm the bouncer.
Rihanna has more hits than Beyonce there.
Who is Karen's friend? Who is Karen's friend?
Goss, relax.
Listen, Tosh. I don't know no moms that felt like that. All the moms that I know and people who were single was like, yo, she killed. Now there were people who was underwhelmed, but I don't know why. I don't get it.
K-Dub,
who are you?
So I'm gonna tell you, Tasha, what they wanted. They wanted what I wanted. It was a great show. She did a wonderful job. Rihanna got hits for days. Her dancers killed that joint.
Murdered.
And the whole just aesthetic beauty, just of the whole shot and all that joint, great. She did, in my opinion, bite off of Kanye a little bit, but you know, it is what it is.
What you mean?
You got that graphic?
Oh, with the red, all the red.
Well, yeah.
Give me just a second.
Okay, both of them joints and the stage joint.
Karen, she has hits because she has hits, not because she can sing. You don't have to sing to have hits. I promise you.
Yeah. No. Singing, especially in today's time. Well, not even since the 90s. You ain't really, since the early 2000s, you ain't had to really sing to have hits.
Or rap.
Or that's a whole other situation. But yeah, so all that to say, the one thing that I feel like was missing, and I guess, only because of the Nate Burleson interview could this tie in, is when I watched the Super Bowl, I am watching the Super Bowl, and as the hits are going off and everything is sounding good and whatever, you know, a song like All of the Lights start playing, and I'd be like, yo, is Kanye coming out? a song like "Work" starts playing, and I'm like, "Yo, am I gonna see Drizzy Drake?" You on the Super Bowl is known for having guests. It's just majority of the time there are guests. So I think she did a wonderful job. The only thing that I wish I had of, I wanted to see somebody else.
Nah, F that.
Come. And so that's what I wanted on you. Nah, F that.
We ain't seen Rihanna in 7 years.
We got
that, and that's
Brina,
I think that's the major point. That's the major point.
She was like, "This is about me. This ain't about Drake. This ain't about Ye. This ain't about Jay-Z. Y'all gonna see me for these 13
exactly.
years. Y'all ain't
that's
seen
why nobody else
7
came
years.
I got that one.
Ain't dropped the album in
for
7
that one,
years.
what about the other stage? No,
not the stage one.
Okay. So also Kanye is the one. Kanye got the stage joint, the floating stage thing that she did. Kanye,
he got a floating stage.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I'm working on that one.
Brina's working on getting that one out.
Yes, what Lit L said, the red coat was a tribute to Andre Leon.
Yes,
Talley.
it was.
I did hear.
That's what people end up saying. I'm just saying, Kanye got something very similar. And then if you see the stage, too, it's like Kanye's. I think he was the first one to ever do the floating stage thing.
Nobody was thinking about Kanye when they saw Rihanna.
That's true.
When all the lights started playing,
I was wondering
that is
if
Kanye's song.
Right. I was like, is Jay or Kanye gonna come out at all? Because it wouldn't have surprised me if Jay-Z came out. But then at the same time, I was like, well, Jay-Z ain't for the Super Bowl, so he probably ain't gonna come out. So that was the only reason why I was like, oh.
It's Jay-Z who's pulling the strings on these halftime shows.
Oh, I know, but he said he would never perform there. Remember? You remember when they offered him
Rina
to
turned it down too. Riri turned it down too. Riri turned it down.
I didn't know she turned it down. I do remember him turning it down.
Because of Colin Kaepernick, she turned it down. Jay-Z is normal, as I understand it. Jay-Z is actually the one booking these joints now. But
you mean Rock Nation?
Ain't that Jay-Z?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, sure.
Okay,
sure. But I mean, I'm only saying it like Rihanna would do it if she wants to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it was more of a Jay-Z made it happen type of thing. That's just I don't know. I don't know what the facts are. I'm just in my mind.
Yeah. All I know is when Colin Kaepernick went down, you can take us back to Bree. When Colin Kaepernick went down, Rihanna turned down the Super Bowl halftime show. And all of a sudden, when Jay-Z is running the show, Rihanna is back.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Hey, listen.
So, beautiful performance.
Yeah.
And because of the Nate Burleson interview, when he asked, "Are you going to have some guests?" And she's like, I might, because it ties in into the guest being the baby. It's kind of cool. And a great show. I mean, Rihanna got hits.
Kind of cool.
Great.
Rihanna,
and I'm not even honestly, I'm not a Rihanna stan. I like Rihanna's music. I like some of her music. I like some of her songs. I don't think I've ever been a stan, but I was like, yo, this one is great. Like, she's been missing for several years. She has not publicly performed. She had no new songs for years. And for her to do this, for me, it spoke volumes. And the way that she did it to me was just classic, historical.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Navy.
Bree, did you get in on that at all?
Probably. I mean, you mean about her performance?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I loved it. I mean, it takes a lot of trust for that team to pull that off on those floating stages, like, especially in her condition, being pregnant, like, that's even more commendable. But I thought the precision of that performance was great.
The dancers were awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I don't know if Adam Blackstone was involved with the production, but I thought the live production of that show was just, it was spectacular.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He typically is the MD for most of the people.
Anything live.
Listen, I ain't even gonna hold you though. That boy Chris Stapleton killed that joint.
I missed it, and I just saw it today. I was like,
Chris went crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty good.
All the black people loved Chris Stapleton's performance. Babyface did all right. Babyface did all right.
So Make sure to like and subscribe. Do all the things. Definitely appreciate you guys joining us tonight on the Tastemakers Pod. Please hit the like button, y'all. It tells the algorithm that this is something worth checking out and tuning into. And of course, as we always say, guys, join the Patreon. Appreciate it. It helps us to pay bills, put up more content, do different things like that to further the initiative of creating spaces like this for fresh grown Black Christian folk. And so last topic of the night, Tiphani Montgomery. She has something to say about your girl Beyonce. Let's check that out.
You are bowed to the systems of the world. You are bowed. Any of you who are going to Beyonce's concert, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian? I don't care what pastor you got that is okay with it. I don't care what pastor you got that think it's cool. I don't care what pastor you got that's singing along to their song because they want some clout. Why you think that man called himself Jehovah? It was short for Jehovah. When a witch has a coven, it's normally a small thing. Witches' covens are normally 3 to 7 people. When it becomes thousands, it's called a hive. Y'all are part of that lady beehive?
Nope, I'm part of the Navy.
And you call yourself a Christian? May the dealings of the Lord come upon you. You think this is small stuff. You think you not going to that lady's concert is not an initiation. You think you not going to that concert is not a ritual. You think you not going to concert is not a gate. That entire concert is a gate. How dare you call yourself a Christian? I'm telling you, may the dealings of the Lord come upon any Christian with a platform that is using mixture. This year, may the dealings of the Lord come upon you. This year, may the dealings of the Lord come upon you. Let me say something. There is a righteous indignation. God is tired of this. I'm telling you by the Spirit of God. He is tired of his people being in mixture. He is tired. You being in mixture is the same thing as you cheating on your wife. You being in mixture is the same thing as you cheating on your husband.
Okay. So, and Brina, go ahead, Bree. Actually, get it on this, Bree, real quick, and then if you can, check your text.
Okay. The first time I saw this video, I'm almost embarrassed to say what I thought. But the first thing I thought when I saw it was like, okay, this is about to be the intro to Church Girl on the tour. I'm like, Beyonce's probably gonna use this audio.
That was fire. That was fire.
That was the first thing I thought. I was like, I just thought she did too much in her approach. Like, there's a real conversation that needs to be had.
Sure.
But rebuking and cursing a believer because they buy tickets to go see Beyonce in concert. Well, I guess she would know because she's been to several. But I don't.
In which she has.
Yeah. I love it when Brina does stuff like that. I need you to do more of that. I'm sorry.
But I mean, I get the sentiment in what she's saying. Because, I still haven't listened to all of the Renaissance album. After I heard Church Girl, I was like, I can't do it. But it's just, there should be conversations around holiness. There should be conversations around, being set apart from the world. Christians in entertainment. What are we comfortable? Not even what we are comfortable with, but learning to listen to, like, the Holy Spirit will let you know, like, this isn't cool. That's not cool. Because sometimes we override that stuff just because we like something. Jackie Hill Perry did a brilliant presentation on this whole thing. And every point that she covered, like, okay, that's how you approach this conversation. But no, I mean, just because you buy tickets to see Beyonce, it doesn't make you an unbeliever. Loving those things can make you carnal. You know, it can affect your spiritual effectiveness, but not so much. You're not saved if you go see Beyonce in concert. I was like, no. That's too much.
I like it. I'm with it. I like that energy she came with. I feel like it gives us the good balance. See what I'm saying? Because we didn't got way too comfortable and we didn't got way too lax and we looking like the world way too much. So I like that gut check. You know what I'm saying? I like it a lot. I need more of that. We need to get that fire back. We need to get that. Y'all gotta live right. Because we didn't along with this, this new Christianity. And y'all want to redefine Jesus, and y'all want to reintroduce Jesus to people.
Hey, nobody said that.
Yes, y'all did. Yes, y'all did.
Nobody said redefine. Nobody said that.
Rebrand.
Disingenuous.
Rebrand. I'm sorry, rebrand. Same thing as redefine. Y'all want to rebrand.
It is not the same.
Since y'all want to make Jesus new.
Being disingenuous.
Because y'all want to make this new Jesus, however y'all said it.
New Jesus. Now you add words.
Highly disingenuous.
As if the old Jesus wasn't good enough, and he didn't save our souls. The blood.
Oh Lord, go ahead.
So I'm with it. I like I said, I like it, and I feel like I feel like even with me, like I was watching Harlem. When I was watching, I was like, there's mad sex in here. I can't there was a on my soul. Like there was a yo, this is what we doing. Like you just got numb to it where you can kind of watch this stuff and not be moved by it. So like I think that speech is the heart of what I have been feeling over the last 2 weeks, where it's like, yo, there's got to be a difference. Like we got to take some kind of stand. We got to say, all right, where's our line in the sand? You know what I'm saying? Because if we keep agreeing and keep trying to move the goalposts back, then what do we have to offer if we look just like them? If we go into the concerts just like them? If we doing everything just like them because we want to, for the sake of being cool or relational or fitting in, there has to be some kind of line. So I'm with it. I think it brings balance to the conversation. I like her energy towards it. And if you know what I'm saying? Like if you get convicted by it, then it's for you. If you don't get convicted by it, then it's not for you. I loved it. I was convicted by it.
Yeah, my main issue with that conversation was her cursing Christians, or which I didn't even see that.
Did she curse Christians or did she rebuke?
I mean, I pray God's dealings with you. I don't even know exactly what her heart was behind it, but the way it came off to me was
okay. I mean, like I said, I pray God's dealings on all of us. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I'd rather he deal with, you know what I mean? Like
oh, for sure. I think the main issue I had with it was, how can you call yourself a Christian if you go to a Beyonce concert? I don't understand that. that for me was like, huh? Everything went left for me because I was like, no. Because if that's the case, right? If we're gonna say that, we're gonna say you mixing things, and you're not a Christian if you're mixing things, then we might as well not watch anything on TV. We might as well not listen to anything on, no mainstream music, no, you know what I'm saying? Like I think there should have been, just like Jackie Hill, and I know we didn't have not talked about her yet, but the way that she broke things down and was like, yo, I'm not gonna judge you or be like, yo, I'm mad at you because you went, or think that you're any ill of you because you went, or say you're not a Christian because you go. Like that's different. Like, let me tell you what you need to be looking out for and what you need to be wise about and what you should be discerning about. So that all of that totally, and I think a lot of us already know like what is going on with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Some of us, maybe a lot of us don't. I know I've known that she on some other stuff. She's been on some other stuff. Jay-Z has for forever. Jay-Z has been called himself J-Ho. We all have known that for over decades, right? Mm-hmm. So I think none of that is surprising, but I do agree that I do think there are a lot of Christians who do need a gut check because we are just, this new Christianity is different.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but it is very different. I think there does need to be separation, and there does need to be, as Jackie put it, consecration, right? So I get all of that. I understand that, and that is like Corey said, if you're convicted by it, like listen to the Holy Spirit. Yeah. I just don't think she should be telling people they ain't Christians if they go to Beyonce's concert, because it's a little much.
Yeah, I mean, so
yep.
You know what? I think I lean towards Goss on this, where I received, well, both, right. So I love the body of Christ. I love the body of Christ. I love that every joint supplies, and I love the different offices, and again, going even back to, I think, the topic or whatever before, I like when things are hit from different sides.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? So I like when, so this is how I would look at this, right? I believe Tiphani came in a more probably prophetic angle per se. I think of John the Baptist in the woods coming to y'all talking about repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand, with locust breath and honey all over his beard. And Cass is like, yo, you ain't really got to do all that. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing the most. You know what I mean? But then Jesus comes in a different manner, right? And I mean, I think, and they say it. I mean, what was it? You know, John came doing this, and you hated him. Jesus comes doing this, and you hated him. You know what I mean? Like, and they both came at two different manners per se, right? So I see her as coming at more of a prophetic type situation. I think a lot of people would have hated the Old Testament prophets in 2023. Be like, really? Y'all here to blow up our parade again? You know what I mean? Say we doing this again. I think Jackie Hill Perry then comes around as a teacher and really breaks it down and makes it a little bit more palatable, you know what I mean, for people to really, you know, what I like the fact that it came in different ways or packages per se. So I think that's kind of my thing. I received more from Jackie's joint myself, but I know there are some people that were very much so convicted by Tiffany's joint. And I do think I think we've gotten a little laxed, as Goss was saying earlier. I think we have gotten a little laxed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but y'all know we do it for the culture. We do it for the culture. You know what I mean? We make these we make these excuses for the culture. The truth is, Jay-Z has been calling himself Hove for the last 20 some odd years. And the truth is, the little Christian girl that was in Destiny's Child, she married that nigga.
Did.
And the two became one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And many people have said since Sasha Fierce, it was different with B. You know what I mean? And
she definitely changed. Definitely.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, at what point do we call a spade a spade? You know what I mean? And I think we do have to be more discerning with what we entertain. And I just believe, because this is an all-consuming world we live in now, when we have these phones in our hands, and there's just so much content, so much consumerism, that we are not careful as we should be with our ear gates and our eye gates. And I think it's time for us to to just be a little bit more aware of that, in my opinion. So I appreciate both of these sisters, whether it was Tiffany, whether it was Jackie, and the way they came. And I appreciate what they're saying. And I really think that the body, the church, needs to take heed and just be a little bit more cautious and more careful. As a young person and as a teenager, I knew the power of music, and I knew the difference it made in my life, that I wasn't raised by mainstream or secular music. I am literally a product of Christian hip hop. Been listening to Christian hip hop since probably 91, 90. And I could literally look at the issues, even as a teenager, that other people were having. And I knew that some of those issues I did not have, just because I didn't have the same messages being trained into my ears that they had. And it was clear as day. And again, I just think we have gotten a little laxed. And so I hope that what Jackie has done, what Tiffany's done, just causes us to be a little bit more aware and to use wisdom and discernment a little bit more, because I believe we as a body have gotten very laxed. So I received the rebuke. I was never, I haven't been on B in a minute anyway. I haven't. But I recognize good art. I think Renaissance was really good. But it's also something that I could not listen to over and over again, by no means. Listen maybe twice and kind of keep it going. And so, like I said, I just love seeing what I believe to be the Holy Spirit working, through people. Of course, because we are people, we sometimes do put our own twang on it, one way or the other. And anyway, I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate Jackie for what she did. And I really appreciate Tiffany for starting the conversation, because would Jackie have even done what she did if not for what Tiffany did? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna stay off the chat.
Yep.
It's a lot being said in the chat. But I think, I do also think, in addition, we have to have a balanced approach. For me, I think, and some people do need that, they need the Tiffany approach, but I think you also have to back it up with like some kind of like.
And that's literally why every joint supplies. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I struggled with her message, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying what she said about Beyonce wasn't true. I don't know that the woman is a witch. I don't know that we know that for sure, for certain, but she might be. I know that she does study the Yoruba religion, and that I know the origins of that, the roots of that is definitely demonic for sure. Demonic roots. Yes, absolutely. So I just think the approach should have been a little bit more balanced, and that's my opinion. I do appreciate Jackie's approach for sure. And I do think I think we got to be careful with going from one extreme to the other. Which means for me, we got to have a balanced approach. That's just period. Jesus had a balanced approach. Even if he was going off, he's still giving you truth with love. So yeah, that's it. That's my opinion. I'm not on the Tiffany tip. I'm not really a big fan of her in general, but maybe that's why I was like,
Okay. I don't know who she was or who she is. So I didn't really have nowhere to judge. When I first heard her, my first thoughts were, you might be doing too much. But the more I kept seeing the clip, the more I was like, she got some points that we is not checking on. Like she's like there's been a relaxing. Like there's been a relaxing.
Yeah.
And then of course Jackie drops what Jackie drops. And it kind of just sold it all. I think all of it is needed. That's my whole point. So because I believe all it is needed, I want to respect it all, even if it's not what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not how the Holy Spirit leads me to do things. I want to respect that, part of it.
I mean, there's definitely no disrespect. I mean, it just came across very Paul Washer-ish. But sometimes it's like where we are today, I kind of feel like as an adult, now I see what the older saints were talking about, like when I was younger. Like every time they say, watch out, for all that worldly music. Don't watch all those TV shows and movies and stuff. And it's like, oh, now I see why. Because we've progressed into a state where we're comfortable with ungodliness and it's not a big deal, where it should be something that does outrage you, because the Holy Spirit is grieved by it, but then we're not. So yeah, I mean, it is, we are at a point to where, somebody, has to say something. But just listening, I want to hear the whole thing. I only heard just that clip. I would like to hear like the entire message to get the full context of what she was saying. But for the most part, I mean,
and again, I don't think it's necessary. And I feel you're saying, Brina, I don't think it's going to outrage every Christian either. I do want every Christian to at least be able to see, like, I don't know that I agree with that. Something's going over there. And maybe I might not want to put a lot of my time, effort, and maybe this shouldn't be raising me. Maybe this shouldn't be raising my children. Maybe, whatever the case may be. Maybe I don't want this on repeat all the time. Whatever the case may be. I want us to be more aware. And we all have our different giftings. Everybody's discernment is not like that.
That's a fact.
Whatever the case may be. And guess what? Everybody's discernment isn't necessarily meant to be like that. Like everybody don't got all the same giftings, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not what it is. So I mean, again, it goes back to respect, because then somebody with high discernment might see something and then they think little of the person who doesn't see. You know what I mean? When no, the person who didn't see has a whole other purpose in life and has other giftings that fits the purpose in their life that God has for them. You know what I mean?
That's
it's just maturity. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just want us to be more aware, a little bit more discerning, at least wise, and listening to each other. Just let's listen to each other a little bit more as a body. Like, instead of quickly casting each other off, like, let's listen. Okay, I wouldn't have done that, but why you say that, sis? Or, okay, sis, I see you. Maybe you got some truth to what you're saying. Or maybe just let's be real simple and basic. Something we refuse to acknowledge the Lord in all our ways so he can direct our path. Hey, God, I don't really feel the way she did that. But is there anything that I should maybe be listening to or checking for there? Like, why don't we have more of those conversations with Holy Spirit? That's just where I'm at. So, or where I want to be, where I would like to be, and where I would want the body to be at more. So
more pastors need to teach on that as well. Like, what does it look like to be discerning and to pray about everything? I think it's missing. Yeah. I think it's missing. So
yeah. So that's what it is. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Go ahead. I'm done.
Go. No, say what you're about to say.
No, I was just gonna say everything that Jackie was talking about concerning Beyonce was not new to me. I knew all the things that she had been exposed to. I was like, oh yeah, I've known that. But I do understand there are a lot of people who don't know that and are blindly, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I admit I had to be reminded a little bit of some of it, right? And then even with Jay-Z, I just had to be reminded, like, yo, I remember when this was an issue because when he calls himself Hove, he's, we had, like, and of course this is something I knew, but it's just something that has gotten lax, like, you know what I mean? But then B went and married this dude, you know what I mean? Like, for real.
Somebody had mentioned when he cheated on her, when she came out with Lemonade, that was when it was more apparent the deity worshiping was more apparent. Like her kind of embodying these deities. That's when stuff started going real left after the cheating. Which it's possible. Ain't no telling what she was diving into to keep her marriage together or whatever. I mean, we don't know, but it's interesting.
Shouts out to Anthony in the chat. Well, hey guys, that's the show. You know what I mean? We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Make sure to like and subscribe. Do all the things, please, please, please. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit the like button, but it means the world to us. It helps the algorithm to let people know what it is that we do here every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. And of course, if you really, really rock with us and really, really enjoy what you do here, you can definitely check out the Cash App right below. Definitely support the Tastemakers Pod that way. Or again, if you don't mind putting up that Patreon link once a time, if you're watching on your computer or if you're watching on your TV via YouTube, and you would just scan the code right there with your phone. But I think Judon asked earlier where the Patreon link is. Scan your phone right here. It's right there. Also, when the join is over, it will be in the description of this video as well. But we got a private group chat for the patrons. We in the group chat, being silly, doing what we do, going through what topics we're going to talk about for the next week, amongst many other things. We've got game nights on the Patreon. We got other exclusive content coming and different things of that nature. So make sure to see us on the Patreon joint. With that being said, that's Trisha Bell. That's Light Skin Corey. That be your girl Brina. They call me, quote, we are the Tastemakers. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Tastemakers.
Classic. We do more than make a living, we make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the Tastemakers. Aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight. We do more than make a living, we make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the Tastemakers. Aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight. For the movers and shakers, for the new tastemakers, sommeliers came out to play. Classics in the current day. For the movers and shakers,